Hello, guys, and welcome to Arts and Wellness Cafe. I am so glad you could join me. Welcome to my studio in sunny Barbados. And yes, we have. There's going to be changes as the sun's setting at the moment, but well, not quite setting, but you know what I mean. It's going to be setting soon. So I thought I would take this opportunity now. It's a lot cooler during the day. It was quite busy earlier this morning, but I thought I'd um, come into the cafe and have a my bottle of water and just chill. And I'm quite excited today because I went out to the store, and it makes it sound like I haven't been for the longest, but the reality is all the shops have been shut. So if you think I went to, I think there's only two there's only two Woolworths still open. I think one's in the Netherlands and one's here in Barbados. So I went to Woolworths, and it reminds me of when my son was little, and so what used to happen? We used to have a Woolworths in Wembley, and what I'd do is put him in the pushchair, and I'd walk to Wembley. It was about a 40-minute walk, so I'd walked to Wembley, and then I would walk around Woolworths, just walk through the aisles, and then I would walk back, and that was my exercise for the day. So that was a regular occurrence, and then every now and again, I'm not sure whether I did stop and get like in a coffee shop or something, but I think it was just that we'd walk, he would be awake, see the sights, fall asleep, and then I'd walk around, and it would be, it'd be nice for both of us just getting out there and getting some fresh air. So I went to Woolworths today, and I got a couple of things from there. I was looking for some embroidery scissors. I didn't get those fancy ones. I just got simple. No, I didn't actually get this in Woolworths, so we won't talk about that one. But anyway, I've just got a little fine one. But I found these paints, and I will be doing a review of them. They're by Brie Reese, and this is heavy body acrylic. So I've got, I had two already. I had these two already, so I got another four, and they weren't that expensive. They weren't expensive at all. And I got some more needles. You can't have too many needles, especially with all this sewing I'm doing. But the interesting one thing about these needles, I've never seen them before, is they are it says self-threading needle, really. Okay, so they're not self-threading, but they've got like a split in the top, and it's easier to thread. So I'm going to see how we get on with those. And then I went to the dollar store. Went to the dollar store and got me just some threads, some brightly coloured threads. And I went to an art store and got some embroidery thread because I'm out of black and white, so I got some more of those. And I found this air dry clay for $10. That was quite cheap, so I thought I'd try it. I've never tried this particular brand. Anyway, so that was my morning, so I thought I had to share that with you. But let's get on in the Arts and Wellness Cafe. So today the word that we're looking at is kindness. So kindness revisited. I looked at that word on Monday on the podcast, and you'll be able to listen back to that if you choose to. It's well worth it, I say. And really it's just about my reflections on that word and what that means for me. So kindness revisited. And again, when we think about it here today on the Arts and Wellness Cafe, it's really kind of getting down to looking at your creativity, and what would that word mean when we think about our creativity, or when we're in the midst of our creativity, when I could say that, the word was for me like, all the shops were shut before. So for the last, um, I can't remember the last time I went to an art shop, and that was probably a few months ago. So for at least 8 weeks, 3 months even, the art shops, the general stores, the only thing that was open was supermarkets. So you couldn't. I like going around. I know they say look with your eyes before you buy, rather than, like, I like to pick things up. Like, you pick it up and you think, oh, that doesn't look too bad. Well, yeah, maybe I'll get that. Oh, they got other colours. I must have touched practically every single one of those paints in there. And I think I might go back and get some more, because they are quite highly pigmented, and it's a heavy body acrylic, so you get a really nice effect. But yeah, I was just like, oh gosh, it just feels like, and I was saying to my son, it felt like things were back to normal. Like, I was just wandering around the store. Yes, I had my mask on, but you're wandering around the store and you're looking at things and picking things up, and that was just nice for me. And so that for me was about being kind to myself. I needed that. I needed to nurture myself, and that's not the only way that you can demonstrate kindness to yourself, but in terms of my creativity, that's what my creativity needed. And again, I needed practical things like the embroidery thread. And when I saw these coloured ones, I thought, oh, they look like fun. They'd be. I wonder how strong. I wonder how strong they are. And I only tested it now. Actually, they're fairly strong. I only tested it when I opened it to see how thick they are when you use them. And for those who are new to embroidery like me, it's similar to if you take like an embroidery thread, and it's just for argument's sake, let me show you that. So when you take the thread itself, it's got 6 strands to it. So you can either use it like this, or you can separate it. Some stitches require, like, you have 1 strand or 2 to 3 strands. So these threads are as if you had 1 strand of this, and I often use that, like I'm using it to outline faces and kind of just just to outline faces and shapes and things like that. So I thought, okay, well, it's not too bad for what, $3 a pound. That's not bad, and it's some nice bright colours, which I don't think I have in my stash. And that's the other thing, going to the store and thinking, oh, I have to buy more of this, and you find that you've already got it. But let me get my folder out. So I don't want to miss anything. But so with the word for this week being kindness, the overall words for the month is voice and imagination. So think about voice and imagination, think about kindness, and think about how you can have a better relationship with yourself, but have a better relationship with your supplies, tools, and your approach to your work, and what that then means for you as you partake in your creative activity, and how you're able to express yourself. Because we use the arts, and I'm sorry for the light kind of changing, going in and out, and it's again as the sun hits my face and the room. But I think a lot of people look at creativity, and a lot of us artists feel the benefits of being creative, outside of you're producing for someone, for sale, for selling, but just actually the act of creating, if we think about that and what you're doing. And also check out the meditative recording that I did, and that was um, last week's stillness recording. Um, and it was just like, take yourself away basically, and to this place where it's like really perfect, it's, you feel nourished, nurtured and everything, and just take it all in and be aware of it. And that's almost like you taking a pause, taking a break, mentally, physically, because you're just in your seat, relaxed, everything's relaxed, and you're using your imagination to take you to this place. And it can be a really, really refreshing exercise if you do it, and the more you do it, the easier it is to take yourself away. Like I would do it in the middle, not the middle of rush hour, but when I used to travel on the train, the underground, for work. It would be, first thing in the morning, it was already packed. You go a few stops and then it's packed. And then if you didn't happen to get a seat when you got on, you wouldn't get a seat for the rest of the journey. And it was about another like 30-minute journey into town on the train. I would imagine that I was in the Caribbean. I'd feel the breeze, shut my eyes, and it was almost like it was a warm breeze coming towards you. It wasn't like smelly or anything like that, but it was a really lovely breeze. Or sometimes there was somebody standing right in front of the window, so I'd, maybe the window was here and I'd stand like, so I'd catch a bit of the breeze, and it would be like I'm in the Caribbean, and I just shut my eyes and take myself away. And as I say, you can do it anywhere, that activity. So treating yourself with kindness, is important, and it's important to establish some routines that you do, that you might, stop for a moment during the day or go and take a nap. I no longer feel embarrassed about having a nap, and it's like a power nap, and it's you can't the when you do it, you feel different benefits. So you have to do it before 6 p.m. because if you're having a nap after that, then you might as well be going to your bed, or going to bed early. But if you have it during the day, it's like almost like a pit stop, refresh, awake. And I usually find mine are, because I'm on at the computer, and you're staring at the screen, and the screen, unfortunately at the moment, my screen is like down there, so I'm looking down there, so I've got this ache in my neck, or the pressure on my neck, and then my eyes staring downwards, and it just needs a rest. And sometimes that 5 minutes, like I shut my eyes for 5 minutes, you're resting, and then I'm thinking about the things that I want to do, not stressed about the things I need to do. I'm just thinking, I need to do that, and okay, I start thinking about strategies, how I'm going to do it. Just very simple, like, as if, you've come into a room of possibilities and answers, and I'm just almost looking around that room and thinking, oh yeah, I've got to do that. Oh, there's a solution for that. And that's how it is. And then I wake up, like, usually, sometimes it's 5 minutes, sometimes it's 10 minutes. But usually I get back up and I'm feeling raring to go, and it's just like, yeah, I've had what I needed. So that is the benefits of taking a nap. But even as a creative, sometimes you need to find ways of recharging those batteries. And so again, think about some strategies that you can put in place so that you can do that. So where are we going now? I'm going to be sharing with you. I'm going to have to get it now. Sorry, I thought I'd put it. Oops. There we go. Oh, so I've got this book that I'm going to be reviewing, and I'll share that with you in a while, and it's called Treasured Notions. It is. It says inspiration and craft projects using vintage beads, buttons, ribbons, and trim from the Tinsel Trading Company. Now, I don't own anything from the Tinsel Trading Company, but I own a lot of beads, buttons, and embellishments, things to embellish, ribbons, and I've been collecting them over the years. But it's really nice to maybe get a different perspective on, you know, vintage treasured bits and pieces, and how, you know, and how you can actually use them. So I use them for specific projects that I'm doing creative, whether it's, you know, working with sculpture or fabric, or sculpture or fabric. I would use beads, buttons, and other embellishments. And so it's really nice looking at what would have been collected from that was in the basement of this particular company, and in this book there are some projects. So we will do a review. And I'll go through some of the book. Okay, so let's do that now.
So this book, let me come in, is called Treasured Notions, and it says inspiration and craft projects using vintage beads, buttons, ribbons and trim from the Tinsel Trade Company. Now it's by Kari Meng, and what she's done is looked at, I mean, this is a beautiful book to come out now. This is a beautiful book if you're into collecting a variety of different things that you use in textiles or craft projects. And in the introduction, what they do is go through the catalogue of materials and hunting and gathering notions, which kind of gives you suggestions as to how you actually, you know, go looking for them, places that you might find them, and suggestions, so that, you know, you can, often a lot of these things may look all dusty and you may not think it's worthwhile, but sometimes if you you know, look beyond the dust because it's been kept in a box or whatever, you may find some little treasures. And then it talks about reading clues from the past, so again, depending on where you buy them, the history of some of them. And then it has inspirational boards and also craft projects. So it's got 15 craft projects, and then it goes into the resources and acknowledgements. And the company, the Tinsel Trading Company, stopped, it looks like, trading in 1940, and so there were all these things that were then left in their basement. And what she's gone and done is gone through all the different types of things that were found and taken some gorgeous photographs of some of these things. And you can imagine some of the projects that these were used in, or the day-to-day in the home, how these were used either on, you know, the home decor, look at these threads, home decor, or in creative projects. So the packaging on a wrapped notion or spool of trim can tell you so much information about the notion's age. So looking carefully at the wrapping that it comes in, don't just rip it off and, and dash it, but it will be able to give you a clue as to maybe how old it is, the era that it was used in, and yeah, it's a really nice. It's it's a really nice book to have. And so here we look at some of the inspiration boards that have been put together color wise to give you some ideas of maybe how you can use some the ones that you may have, or if you're going to go out and search for some yourself. Now, my favorite bit is the projects that you can do, and as I said, it's got 15 different projects, and it's got some great directions. It gives you all the materials that you'll need to use, and it gives you the direction, and we've got some really good photographs to help you put things together. And it's, yeah, some really nice little projects that you can essentially do. And as I say, everyone comes with directions, and it may be that rather than rushing out and trying to find a lot of these things again are vintage, so you'd have to look carefully. They're not necessarily going to be in your haberdasheries or store, so you may have to improvise, and with certain techniques you may be able to age some of the notions that you may have. So at the end, as I say, there are a selection of resources in a variety of different countries, it would seem. So you've got the States, you've got France, New York, you've got London, and that's good. So it gives you a variety of different places where you can buy these things. So this is a really lovely book if you're a collector, not a hoarder, if you're a collector. And as I say, it gives you some ideas as to what you can do with some of the things that you may have in your collection. Treasured Notions. It's quite a small book. Heavy. I love the finish. It's got gold trim on the pages. Inspiration and craft projects using vintage beads, buttons, ribbons and trim from the Tinsel Trading Company.
Okay, so what did you think? You can, it is available online, so it's a nice little book. I haven't done any of the projects yet, and what I might do is what I like actually doing, because I'm not really a recipe following person, and they're not recipes but directions, and I like to usually either take something from it and use it in a particular way. You see how the lighting's changed? The sun's just going behind the trees now. So I like to take bits from it and then see how I get on. So it's even got some bugs on there. I don't know, they're the fluorescent-y type bug beetles that you can get. So I don't want any of those. But this makes me want to look through the things that I have been collecting. I've done a lot of collecting from charity shops and jewelry, beading. I've picked up quite a lot of really nice stuff. So it's definitely well worth a look. And hopefully it's given you a reasonable look so that you can really maybe make your mind up. So I'll just really also tell you a bit about what else is happening. Now there's an exhibition. It's like African Heritage. Where's my phone? But it's online. I'll leave the links to it. I've got 3 pieces of work, and it's looking at our African heritage. But when they talk about, Black History Month, in different places, some places it's celebrated in February and some places in March. But at the end of the day, our history is a daily thing. So we celebrate our history 365 days. But this exhibition is on, and it was put on by Artists Alliance, and they put on some really, really brilliant exhibitions, and they've also partnered with so many different groups and organisations, and we were at one point doing monthly exhibitions, and I hope that's still I think that's still going on, will be going on once everything starts to open up fuller, with the Argentine embassy, and we've had some brilliant exhibitions there, and also some pop-up shops and things like that. So I'll leave the details below, and I will share the some of the work that I've got on display so that you can see. As I say, I've got 3 pieces, and for me, my art is about expressing emotions. Sometimes they're not necessarily my emotions, but my perceived emotions of my ancestors, I was to say of other people. But some of my work, some of the sculptural work that you'll see, is about celebrating strength, celebrating your history, celebrating the things that you weren't necessarily told, but intrinsically you feel them. You feel your royal lineage. You feel your strength, power, endurance. You feel those things. You may not necessarily be able to articulate it. And like when you think about your ancestors, for some people they can say, yes, in the 1880s, 1680s, 1580s, can you go back that far? Great, 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 great. Now I know that my ancestors, part of my history, they were enslaved, they were stolen, and through my work, I want to capture, prior to that, what dreams, what aspirations, what skills, what knowledge were they using, the languages we spoke, the things that we invented and created. And do I then come from, when I think about what I do now, do I come from a line of artists? My love for so many aspects of the arts, the textile art, textile and fabric art, the sculpture, the using fabric in the sculpture, is that because my great 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 also use different aspects of the arts to express themselves. So it's really important for me to it's about listening and working intuitively. I stopped at least, I think even maybe, at least say 6 years, I stopped trying to create something specific and allowed my intuition to take control. So what was it that I wanted to express, and what materials can I use to express that? Or I'm feeling to use fabric, what is the message or what is the image that wants to come out? Not what do I want to put on this piece of fabric. It's what is sitting under the surface, just waiting for me to pick up whatever the tools. And so that then would, like, I'm working with fabric, I'm working with this 100 100 stitches, 100 days of embroidery stitches. So I'm learning 100 different stitches. But in between that, see, one of the things that I was saying to myself that I naturally do is that, okay, there's other things that are going to come from this naturally. And so part of me wanted to just enjoy it and not even really share, because there's a pressure with having to show up. The daily basis is not something that I wanted to commit to, but I could commit to every 3 days. Sometimes I'm on it with the 3 days and sometimes I'm not. But there are other things which I am doing outside of that, which I feel led to do. So I started doing, I wanted to see what it was like to create a face. I've done a kind of quilted face, but through stitch to create a face, could I create my own patterns? And those are the ideas that were bubbling in my head. And I did this one. I'm in the process of creating this particular person. They just kind of turned up, and now I'm working through what threads, what stitches am I going to use, and it's really, usually the first thing comes to mind. Like with some of the stitches, I was thinking, like with the hair, I was thinking, do I want to be more precise with the hair? Or, I mean, this is supposed to be locks, but do I want to do the strands of hair and how the lock intertwines, the texture of the locks? Or did I want to maybe focus on the pattern that would emerge in the shirt? And so that's how I work. That's how I've been working. And so I was really enjoying this, and I've done some others as well. And I'll show you another one that I was working on. So I work on multiple at the same time. But I did these years ago. I did the original painting. So again, it's obviously not finished, but I'm now starting with features. I'd initially just done the shapes, the colours, and I'd stitched a loose image. And so now I did it with the sewing machine. So now what I'm doing is going in and doing some of the detail. So those are two that I'm really kind of intuitively working on. But it also brings in, because that was the other thing I was thinking, do I want to paint some of this? Do I want to add, some paint? So I'm still kind of thinking about it. But so that's how I allow myself to work. And again, obviously you have to have the balance, and you make sure you do some of the other things that you need to do. But what I've found, it's I came across the Marie Kondo method, or it's the decluttering and things like that. But with that, and you have to like take out everything. So say for instance you're doing your closet, you take out all the clothes, and I was just like, I think I'd be too overwhelmed. So maybe I might have to do a altered version of that. And what I find has been working for me is doing 40-minute sections. So I'll do 40 minutes, and then I can move on to something else. Have a break or whatever, go for a walk, stretch, whatever. But I haven't yet started, because there's just so many areas that I'm thinking, oh gosh, I can't deal with that now, because I've got a few deadlines to meet. So, oh yeah, the last thing I'll show you. I made this, so again, with my 100 days of stitching, it's not yet finished, but this is what is going to house my stitches. So I've got the ones that I've done so far in here. So these are all the ones that I've done. There's 3 stitches on each of the panels, and I want to find a way to have this like fabric book of stitches. So this was actually a batik wall hanging that I was going to do. Is that the right way? Yeah, so you'll be able to see there's kind of three faces. But I made them and I made several of them, but these particular ones wasn't working. I wanted to do more with it. And then when I folded it over like this, it was just like, oh, this actually feels really nice. But then I left it and I thought, okay, well, when the time comes when I need to decide what it's going to be used for, I'll be able to do so. And yeah, so now it's going to be a book for my stitches. So think about the word kindness. When revisiting that word, think about it. Think about how it, you know, you're being kind to yourself. Think about how in your creative walk you're making sure that you put that within it. Because what's the point of, you know, doing the thing that you love or the things that you love and you still have to take a break from that, you know, you still have to find ways. And again, I think that's why mixed media suits me, because then I can just, you know, I don't feel like painting, I'm going to be doing some stitching, or I'm going to make something with clay. And I'm really looking forward to using this air dried clay. It's really soft. I've never felt them so soft before. But, you know, working with clay, creating embellishments, creating things that then I could maybe use in other art pieces. And that was one thing that, like, I used to say to myself, you know, I'd be making these things, small things, and I think I'm not sure why I'm making them. It's not for a specific purpose. And then I started relaxing and saying, the purpose will become clear when you finish them. Your only thing right now, the focus, is to do this particular thing, and then at the next stage, other things will be revealed. And when I just let go and allowed that to happen, it was just like so many things now, you know, like I'm working and it's just like, oh, I need this. And then I look in my supplies and, you know, the things that I've made in the past, and it's like, oh, that's perfect. You know, these things have worked really well. So I want you to think about how you move forward and how you are kind to yourself. And I want you to do, you know, if it's not just at least one thing a day. But if you can't do that just yet, think about one thing this week that you will do for yourself that's an act of kindness. Also, think about how you can share that with somebody else. How can, you know, what kind of random act of kindness can you do for somebody else? Because when you're doing for yourself and you're loving yourself and you're valuing yourself, you can really tap into the things that other people need, and, you know, you be more not intuitive, but perceptive on these things. You know, you make a journal. It's happened to me once, where I gave somebody something that I wasn't sure about, but my heart said, give it to them. And it turned out to be the very thing they needed. And I was just so blown away. And so I was blessed from that, because it was just like, you see, when you allow your, you know, the Holy Spirit to speak in you, your intuition to lead, you know, we've been given that for a reason. When you just stop overthinking things and stop allowing, you know, skewered perception to take the lead, but when you just relax in it and you're listening, then, you know, amazing things happen. So let's cut it short. Well, it's not really short, is it? But thank you so much for joining me, and let me know how you get on. I love seeing the comments, and I love the encouragement that I've been receiving is just so beautiful. It's beautiful. And yeah, I just want you to stay blessed, be a blessing, and join me again. Take care.